It had been nearly 6 months since Tyler left for college. The day he packed his bags and stepped out of our little two-bedroom apartment felt like a mixture of pride and heartbreak. As a single mom, I had worked 3 jobs just to make sure he had what he needed for school: a laptop, tuition, a meal plan, and a few $100s tucked into an envelope with a note. For emergencies only. Love, Mom. But college isn't easy. It wasn't just the money, though we didn't have much of it. It was the pressure, the loneliness, the late nights, and the uncertainty. And then one day, a phone call changed everything. "Mom," he said quietly, his voice more tired than I'd ever heard it. "I think I need to come home for a while." We didn't have a second room for him anymore. After he left, I'd rented it out to make ends meet. That left only my small room, a twin bed, a broken dresser, and a window that barely opened. Still, there was no question in my heart. "Of course you can come home, honey. We'll make it work." Tyler came back with just a duffel bag and his backpack. His face looked thinner, with the kind of fatigue I remembered from my own college days. Only worse. As we pulled his things inside, I looked around the cramped space and realized how little privacy we'd both have. But this wasn't about comfort. It was about being there for each other. That first night, we made up the bed with 2 extra pillows and folded an old blanket in the corner for him to sleep on. "I'll take the floor," he insisted. "You work way too hard to not have your own bed." I smiled but shook my head. "We'll take turns. One night you get the bed, one night I do." It wasn't ideal. It was barely manageable. But something surprising happened over the next few days. We started talking again, really talking. Not just about money or grades or future plans, but about life. He told me about the pressure he felt in school to always seem like he had it together, the panic attacks he never mentioned, the time he nearly dropped out without telling anyone. And I shared with him the stories I'd always hidden, the nights I cried in the car after double shifts, the jobs I took on just to afford his textbooks, the loneliness I felt after his dad left. One night, the rain poured hard outside, and the power flickered out. We lit a candle and just sat on the floor, leaning against the wall. "You know, Mom," Tyler said softly, "I thought leaving meant growing up, but I think coming back taught me even more." I reached out and squeezed his hand, feeling a lump in my throat. Sometimes coming back home is the bravest thing you can do. As the weeks went on, we found a rhythm. I'd cook while he helped fold laundry. We watched old movies on my cracked laptop, shared inside jokes from when he was little, and even laughed about how ridiculous it was to share one tiny room. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. And, in a way, it felt like healing.